There, what do you think, folks? Was it a victory for free speech in the end? Was it dangerous television? Let's see what you've got to say. Kirsty.
First, we have Danielle on line 2.
Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
So, what did you make of it?
Well, to be honest, let me start by saying I am not in any way a BNP supporter.
Right.
I actually detest the party, but I think it turned into a total witch hunt. I think he was completely victimised. Unfortunately...
Danielle, just so we're clear, do you mean, sort of Tracy-Ann's point, that the show wasn't a regular question time? They didn't talk about a wide range of issues, it was the Nick Griffin show?
They focused on Nick Griffin,
right.
and his views and his party. Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, it's not going to change anyone's mind who doesn't like the BNP. They're going to still think the same thing. Yeah. But the people who do support the BNP and the people who are wavering may look at that and go, oh, hang on a minute.
If that's the alternative.
You know, he's a victim. Basically, I think they should have just given him enough rope to hang himself.
Well,
I totally agree. I don't think they should have done a totally normal question time on a load of different policies and let him show himself for the idiot that he is.
Yeah, but I think he did do that, Tracy.
No, it wasn't a normal question time. It was very focused on BNP.
Concentrated on him. And
from the beginning, from the outset.
Well, you know, they did race, and they said, and then he says, let's go and do something else. Let's broaden this out. And someone raised a question about Stephen Gately, so we went from race to I hate the gays, or whatever.
I don't understand your point, though, because it concentrated on Griffin, and in that concentration, he continually revealed himself for being a buffoon. So why...
Because it wasn't like...
Well, it could have been, should we arm the police? It could have been some of the discussions we're having today. Should we arm the police? What do you do with children who show no respect for their teachers?
The show opened with literally the question going, you're here to justify yourself.
Yeah.
And that's never happened before, in my knowledge.
Danielle, thank you for the call. Let's have another.
We have Jez on line 1.
Jez, good morning.
Good morning.
What was your take on it last night?
Well, I thought it was rubbish because he's like a pantomime villain. But to me, as a voter, it doesn't reflect my real issues. I mean, at the moment, we've got a service economy which is dependent on people having money in their pockets, and yet most employers are cutting back on salaries, they're cutting back on terms and conditions, they're cutting back on pensions. So the biggest threat is, are people going to be participating as consumers in the next 2 to 5 years? And instead of debating that obvious thing, we get this ridiculous sideshow of nonsense. I was offended by it. It insulted my intelligence as a voter.
You're with Tracy-Ann, too focused on Nick Griffin and his views, or the areas that he would sound contentious. Yeah. OK, thank you, Jez. Let's have another.
We have Jimmy on line 3.
Jimmy, good morning.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi, what did you make of it?
Well, like I said before, basically, I thought everybody was against him, and he handled himself brilliantly. To me, he was getting bullied, and I thought, there's nobody going to stand up for him.
Well, if you think he was bullied, spare a thought for the people he would like to bully, Jimmy. Thank you for thank you. We're going to get some more. We've got loads of views.
We have Diana on line 4.
Diana, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Matthew.
Hi there. What did you make of it?
Well, I'll tell you what I made of it. I think there was a lost opportunity towards asking Jack Straw why did he think the British people, or 1 million people, voted for the BNP? Because they're absolutely not listening to the British people and giving them a fair deal.
He was given a hard time. I mean, to be fair, Jack Straw was given a hard time about that, and the point was made repeatedly that the gains of the BNP was not so much the success of the BNP as the failure of Labour in some of these areas.
I 100% agree with that, Matthew, and your two panellists, Tracy and the gentleman on the end.
Dominic.
Dominic, yes, are speaking the same language as most of the people, what we think, but the government are listening, and they're forcing to people, who are we going to vote for? We can't trust them, because they're all criminals and fraudsters. They've proved that with
just remember, there are laws of libel, Diana. I mean, some of them may be criminals and fraudsters, and if they were, I wouldn't know who they could possibly be. Can I just ask you about the ratings? I mean, Question Time, you know, it gets a couple of million normally, when it has people like Will Young on it. 7.9 million viewers, nearly three times its biggest ever audience. Why do you think that was?
Well, there's a question in itself, Matthew, isn't there? Why do you think it was? I think so many people were thinking, well, the opportunity is going to be in the people that were there to ask these questions, but they didn't have it. It was just so one-sided. He was like Joan of Arc at the stake, and really, that's what I felt, and it was just ridiculous waste of time. It wasn't a normal question time. And
that is why it was dangerous television. And that is why it was dangerous television. And I hope somebody from the BBC is watching, because I had Nick Griffin compared to Joan of Arc at the stake. That was the most dangerous piece of television that I think has ever gone on in this country.
All I want to know
is
if having Nick Griffin on your show gets you 7.9 million viewers, you need a new job, Kirsty. I'm going to get someone else behind that booth. I think. We can keep Nick Griffin in there, contained in an all-white environment on his own. And we could get record viewings. Diana, thank you. Let's have another.
We have Lucy on line 2 next.
Lucy, good morning. Was it a victory for free speech last night?
I do think it was a victory for free speech, because I don't think we have free speech anymore in this country, and I think that's a very slippery slope to be on.
Go on, tell us more. Why do you think that?
Well, now we've got laws to prevent homophobia and racism. You know, comedians can't make jokes anymore. You can be arrested for sort of making a racist comment.
Sorry, Lucy.
I'm not Indian myself, so obviously I'm not a BNP supporter, but I do believe in free speech, and I think too much legislation's already come in to prevent free speech.
But then, when you're saying free speech, you know, we've got laws to prevent homophobia and racism, and we have laws to protect libel. We have laws to stop people, broadcasters, journalists, saying things that are patently untrue and damaging about other people. Now, you seem to be suggesting that we should remove these laws and allow everybody to say anything they like any of the time. That's not free speech, is it? I mean, free speech comes with a price tag, doesn't it? It requires a certain degree of respect.
Yes, it does come with responsibility, but I do believe you should be able to say anything. They are just words. Well,
I mean, you're contradicting yourself here. I mean, are you saying that people should be freely allowed to go around and abuse black people for the colour of their skin or gay people because of their sexual preference? Is that what you're saying? Is that free speech for you?
I think
well,
go on.
To an extent, yes. I think
right.
They're just words. I've been racially abused.
Well, it doesn't make it right, though, does it, Lucy?
Words.
Are you saying, Lucy,
if I was attacked, that's different. If I'm attacked with words,
you're not attacked with words.
I'd rather have that and have freedom of speech completely. I'd be able to spend myself with words again.
I think what Lucy's trying to say, perhaps...
I think she's saying very clearly that she feels that we should be able to say what we like, but physical attacks are verboten. You're not allowed to attack someone physically, but you can say what you like.
Far better, though, to have Griffin on. But I thought the people outside the BBC last night were so misguided. All that protest outside the BBC. Let the guy go on and say what he says, and you can make a judgment.
People are allowed to protest. I'm sorry, Matthew, I've got to say it again and again and again. It was the way the programme was
just about to say, I think that the people were angry because they saw the BBC as promoting the Nick Griffin interview, trying to benefit from the Nick Griffin interview.
And they absolutely did. I think everyone concedes
that's why people were very angry about it.
And subsequently changed the tone of the show to turn it into the Nick Griffin ratings appeal, so that we end up with comments where he ended up looking like a victim.
Well,
I've said I don't think he ended up looking like a victim.
No, I don't think he did at all.
I think if enough people will be ringing in today, and 2 out of your 3 phone callers have just rung in to say they felt he was victimised.
OK.
Well, he was ganged up on Tracy, but he couldn't refute any of the arguments put to him. Could he? I mean, you deny the Holocaust, and then you can't explain why you denied it, and how you changed your mind. You have no legs to stand on.
The fact is, the proof is in the pudding that if this programme represents Great Britain, you have had...
Listen, we've got to take a break. We've got loads more calls on this. Do you want to carry on with it?
Yes.
Right, we'll carry on with it after the break.
Okay, are we dignifying
No, we're not. It's so many issues are coming up. We're not getting enough time to go through them. We'll carry on with this after the break. We'll do our boy who wouldn't stand up to who refused to stand up for his head teacher after that. So if you've got something to say about Nick Griffin and the BNP, 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts. Was it a victory for free speech? Did he end up as some kind of victim? We'll find out what you think on the other side of the break. Back.